Welcome to No Stranger Pet Street Ministry. Well, you could say I was blinded by the light. Guys, let me tell you what. To go blind is the worst experience I think anybody could ever go through. I mean, you have no clue how precious your eyesight is. I guess it would be that way pretty much considering just about any of your senses would be that way. I mean, I remember breaking my leg, and I remember how devastating that alone was. Just not being able to walk, without crutches or stuff. So, health problems is ridiculous how bad it is. Take it back to a little bit. During COVID, I got COVID. They gave me a steroid because I've had so much lung problems in my life, and I struggle pretty hard anyway, and I've used the crap out of my lungs. I get that, yes, it's my fault. I caused probably most of it, but throughout my life, I've always had lung problems, even since I was a young baby. I mean, I had pneumonia a couple times. I mean, it was, even when I was a young child. I remember being in the hospital a few times because of this kind of stuff. So it's something that my body has battled with pretty regularly its whole life. I've always been a sickly kid living on antibiotics pretty much every month, for 25, 30 years. I mean, it's crazy. Your nose and throat, system, it turns into bronchitis, So it's always been a very big ordeal with me, but I've learned to live with that. I mean, I've gotten pretty resilient and tough over it. But the biggest thing is I've also learned how to breathe and how to clear my lungs, how to do everything I can to prevent that stuff staying in. Which is techniques I get. There's breathing people out there that teach this in therapy, and these people are literally godsends, to be able to teach you how to do just this. Because if it wasn't for that education, I probably wouldn't have survived it and made it. Because I remember when it was really in the bad situation, I had spent like 3 to 5 days, I think it was 5 days, up. I couldn't sleep, and I was doing nothing but coughing, and I was breathing extremely hard. I was just doing nothing but concentrating on my breath, concentrating on my lungs, concentrating on clearing my lungs. It was a pretty tough ordeal. But hey, I pulled through it. God healed me, and it actually, was just another phase of my ministry that I had to go through. I always felt that, every time I seemed to pray for somebody with a certain issue, I sort of have something very close to it happen to me. So it's almost like I have to pick up their sword and help them fight the battle. But anyway, my eyesight went bad because they gave me a steroid to help with my lungs, and that steroid acted, as far as I understand, it acted with the protein that was in my eyes, and it caused quick onset cataracts, and the cataracts just kept going darker and darker and darker and darker and darker, to where it was to a point to where this eye was nothing but just a shadow. I could see shadows. I couldn't see anything in definity. I could just see, if she would hold 3 fingers I could put away from my hand, I could actually see the shadows of those 3 fingers. This side, I only had clear vision after it was about probably 8 inches away to about a foot away. But within that distance, because then I would have to use my bifocals on my glasses as well, and it was still extremely dark. It's hard for me to even make out a lot of the reading, but if I turn the lights on the phone up real bright, I could actually adjust it enough to where I could barely make it through messages, things like that. But it was pretty crazy. I mean, and the depression that came on because of all that. Oh my gosh, it's amazing how it brings you down. I'm usually a pretty positive, upgoing type of guy, but boy, that one there, that was a tough ordeal for me to deal with. But they said I could be fixed. I went to the eye doctor. They says, all right, yeah, we could have a surgery, and with insurance and stuff that you got, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Da 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 da. It would cost you about $3,000 or more to get an upgrade to the real fancy eyes. You could see up close, far distance, everything all at once. Not need any glasses at all. I couldn't afford that, so I'm like, well, let's just do the standard one, I guess, that my insurance will cover. So they set the appointment about 2 weeks out, and I was sitting in the dark, just not really doing anything, just existing. Well, through a lot of prayers and a lot of things, I did a lot of soul searching and a lot of things there too. So I've cleaned up a lot of things that I was dealing with, and got that back into track, I think. And so in a way, it was good that it happened. I would never wish that on anyone, but I went on and got right up to about 2 days before the surgery, and they call and says, well, your insurance denied you. Why is that? Because you haven't met your deductible. So we have to cancel your appointment for your surgery. I'm like, are you serious? I said, because I don't have money. I can't receive the services that I'm in need of, which I think is ridiculous. What's wrong with America? That we have a system that's set up this way. Better yet, what's wrong with the doctors that would even do something like this? I mean, the difference between saving your life or saving someone or to helping someone, some others, isn't there an oath that they take to be able to practice medicine? I mean, I just don't understand that, number one. But anyway, that's beside the point. I understand people's got to make money and da 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 da. But it was just so aggravating, to find and then to finally realize that just because I'm poor and I don't have an income and I have no way to, it's an act of God for me to have enough money to just put gas in my van at times. It's just a shame that, that I would have to go the rest of my life with not even being able to see. And it would get worse and worse and worse to where I would be completely blind, I'm sure. So the depression has really kicked in and caused a lot of distress. But miracle happened. Come up and worked away and find a way to do it. Ended up costing us, the money to do even the basic surgery was like, I think it was like $4,000, $5,000, somewhere around there, between $4,000 and $5,000. And we was able to pull that together and actually get in and actually do the first eye on time on that day's schedule. And then the next eye was done a week later. And now, honestly, to tell you, I can see perfectly out of both eyes. I've got 15/20 vision in both eyes. Everything I need bifocals that they gave me. Now, how's that? That's reading within a foot from my face. I need that to just do a comfortable read. If I squint, I could probably make it out, but comfortably I can read it with those about a foot away. Lord, let me tell you something. That was a miracle and a blessing all in its own. Honestly, when they did my eyes, I'm amazed by the clarity, by the color. The popping of the colors is just mind-blowing. I honestly, truly do not feel that I've ever seen this good in my entire life. I mean, it's just everything is beautiful. My spirits instantly picked up. My depression completely melted away. I'm still living a lot of battles. Yes, I understand that, and that's just my typical life. I'm used to that. But everything around me is the beauty, but it also showed me a lot of ugliness too. So I'm more easier to defend off the ugly too. So and believe me, there's some of these people out there. I mean, I'm not a looker myself, but boy, I tell you what, some of them you really got to wonder about. But nah, it's just joking with you. But the thing is it was the most amazing thing I've ever experienced, was to see the difference in what it was to feel that way. I mean, it was very hard when they first did it. They took the patch off and stuff, and it was like, man, my eyes were just totally whacked out. I mean, they were looking this way and that way and this and that, and it was just, it was a mess. But about an hour later, finally, I think the anesthesia or whatever it was finally was, depleting, and probably should have just left the patch on for a few more hours in my case. But yeah, as I sort of had a scare there, I'm like, uh-oh, I think he put it in upside down or something, maybe missed the spot. But no. And I asked him afterwards, I says, well, will this come back? And he's like, no, once you do it, once you get the surgery, it's done. They can't come back again. So thank God for that. I mean, and I tell you what, my opinion, if there's anybody out there that's over 40 years old that has any concern at all in their eyesight or their vision, go and have it checked out. And if they even utter the word of cataract, of even a shading of a cataract, go have it done. That's 10,000 times better than what you could ever see with your regular eyes, in my opinion. And oh my gosh, that alone is just such a blessing. Maybe the whole world needs that. Maybe it'd snap them out of the crap that they're walking through right now with all the depression and all the negative and the sourness and the ugliness of the world. That's why they're all depressed, because of the crap they can't see. But if they actually looked out and saw God's beauty, and it was beautiful in nature and different things, just the color of the sky. It just blows your mind, what colors are colors. And I was always pretty accurate with my eyesight and with my colors and things. I know that, but now this was a lot better than anything I've ever experienced. But anyway, hey, thank God for that. I appreciate all of your prayers. I appreciate everyone that stood behind me and to help me and to do whatever you could to support me. Thank you very much for looking out for me and keeping me in your prayers, because I still do believe in miracles, and I always will believe in miracles, because every time I'm in need of one, God shows me. So let's get back to where the world is. And the world, the way the world and the economy and everything is going crazy. Everything's being thrown together, all the prices are getting ridiculous. Filled the car up the other day at $1 or $4.76 a gallon. Really? I mean, for a car's tank costing me $80, $90 to fill it up. Glad I didn't have the van. And no, I still haven't got either one of the vans running yet. That's just got to be money coming at a different time, I guess. I had a blessing and someone sent me the money to get one part for it, and it ended up not being that part. So I replaced it, and I still don't know what I'm going to have probably some mechanic, or even take it down to the manufacturer and have them put it on the computer and figure it out, find out what's going on with it. It's just something more difficult than my brain can figure out. I think I've pretty much gone through every shade tree mechanic diagnostics there possibly could be, and so I don't know. Anyway, we look at all this stuff, and then people are asking me also about Jim, why don't you make healthy choices and teach us how to be healthy and teach us how to eat healthy and how to cook healthy. So I've been thinking about that, and I did a couple of videos way back, about teaching you how to. I think I made yogurt for you one day. I taught you how to do sprouts in a mason jar, different things like that I've sort of given along the way. But let's go back to those. I really feel the problem with most people in this world and in their health is because the food has been stripped of their nutrition so desperately and so badly to where the body is literally starving itself with nutrition. The proper minerals and stuff that your body needs to process and needs to live is not there, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm going to take you back to one of my little hobbies. I got a ton of hobbies, and just one of them just happens to be doing microgreens and stuff. And this is all usually started off with my, through my prepping stage, when I did a lot of prepping and understanding I wanted to provide for the family. And I'm like, well, you know what, if things did get really bad, at least I could have my own vegetables and just become a vegetarian if I have to. I'm a meat eater, trust me, but it'd be tough on me, but for my family, they would transition pretty well. Me, I would have a struggle with it. But I figured I'd be out there killing off the chickens or the rabbits, if I have to. But I always like, do things and think of things to where you can prep sensibly. What will last and what will hold up and what still works. This rack here is I think it's 82 inches tall. It's 18 inches wide by 4 foot wide by 18 inches deep. It's got the wire racks. There's 6 different racks that came with it. So you can make actually 6 different shelves if you wanted to. I used one as a very bottom base, one as a very top base, which is the cover for the first rack, but I can still store stuff up above. It's got these lights on it. These are the Barina LEDs, and they're bright. This is just one light. Can you imagine if I light up all 12 of them? You would see halos around me. That's how bad it would be. I would really be in the light. I would be blinded by the light. I think I'm going to make that the title to the video, Blinded by the Light. But anyway, this is for growing sprouts and growing microgreens. Microgreens is the most nutritious thing you could probably put in your body, in my opinion. And you can do it with just about any living plant out there that's edible. There's many things out there that you can look online and find all those information, even wild edibles. So pick up a book for that and start doing some research on those. I know like dandelions and some flowers even are edible. So look through that and try to, find out what you can eat. They always said a man that was starved to death in America, wherever he dies, he can usually have the stuff that was sustain him within an acre away. In other words, within the acre that he dies on, there most likely would be enough vegetation, enough water sources, enough ways to do it to sustain him, and to even save his life. I don't know how true that is, but it sounds about right. I mean, especially you start looking at all the edibles out there and the grasses and things that you can eat. It will blow your mind of stuff that's really there. Even the weeds, I mean, the things you would think that is a weed, it's not. It's actually real food. Some seeds these are some that I brought way back when for storage. Alfalfa seeds. Zesty sprouting mix. These are some that I bought. This little company here is amazing. I don't know if you ever go to source out anything, the trays or anything about it, the seeds and things, even the nutrients that it needs. This is probably one of the nicest, the most friendly, the best service I've ever had, and the best concern. I had problems when I first had this shipped out. My last shipment shipped to me, and they spent time and answered those questions within seconds. I mean, in minutes. It was the best care I've ever had, from the company. You could just feel the deep love within them. So I would highly recommend this company. This is called True Leaf. You can find them online. It's www.trueleafmarket.com. I'm not affiliate with them as of yet anyway. I would love to be. But no matter what, just for the service and the products that I receive from them, extremely, extremely happy. This here is lettuce, romaine lettuce. One's got arugula. I got spicy. I got peas. I've got sunflower. I've probably got 20 different kinds of seeds. This here is a 1 pound bag, I believe. This one here is like, I don't know, weight, actually 12 ounces. This is an organic fertilizer, and this fertilizer here will probably make you a year's worth of liquid fertilizer, for your microgreen seeds. But now even in microgreens, people try to study it and say the old saying is that there's enough nutrients inside the seeds to sustain it to its true leaf value, to its first true leaf value. So the growing of that sprout should have enough nutrient. You should be able to just throw it on a sidewalk, keep it watered and stuff, and it should sprout up to where it gets to where the true leaves will first start to form. With no nutrients, no nothing. And it's been proven that is somewhat true. Is it the best and the prettiest sprout that you have? Is it the strongest and the fattest and most juiciest one? No, not at all. But it will take it up to that stage. Now, through fertilizers, this is the problem with all this fertilizer stuff that we've had out there, because fertilizer fattens it up, it juices it up, it makes it beautiful, it makes your yield explode. There's just so much stuff that this fertilizer does to these plants. It's like puts them on hijack. I mean, they like zap the power to them, man. Well, that's what the farmers and everyone's gotten used to. I mean, so I mean, you take a normal farming, the old traditional way. Let's say in sweet corn, I don't know. Well, let's just say you get, I don't know, 100 bushels of corn for an acre. I don't know if that's true or not, but just say it's 100 bushels of corn. And you put fertilizer to it, you probably get 400 or 500 bushels of corn out of it. That just gives you a comparison about what this fertilizers do to it. I mean, it's amazing how it does even in the yields of a 1020 microgreen tray. These little trays right here. This is a 1020 microgreen tray. That's the one with little holes in it. And it sits in the other one, and you water it from the bottom. You seed the top over here, with seed. Use medium. Some people like to grow with different kinds of medium. You got Coco Coir. You got Pro Mix. That's what I like. Is the organic Pro Mix. I got all kinds of different things, that you can grow. You can even grow it on a piece of screen. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, this BPA and all this stuff, concerned. I think that's more the millennial stage. People that, you know what I'm talking about, the ones that are afraid to drink out of a garden hose. Well, your world and your body goes through so much contaminants, and it's faced with so much contaminants throughout its whole life, but yet it still defends and it still fights off. So, yes, if I know for sure it does cause something, I'll steer away from it. I'm not stupid. But to be afraid of drinking out of a water hose in the case of emergency, when I'm dying of thirst, I'll drink out of the water hose. If it means the only thing I can grow on is a piece of screen that I cut out of my lanai, which is nothing but a piece of vinyl, and be afraid that it might over time turn me toxic, if I'm in such a situation where I can't find nothing else, I'll be using that screen, trust me. Of course, you can buy things like that, even the screen. You can buy a stainless steel screen. Different size holes in them. There's some that goes, I think, by inch. So many strands and blocks within that inch. And that's the size of the screening that it goes. You go real small, all the way down to like a dehydrator mat is almost impermeable. I mean, it's so small. So you can get different thicknesses of those, and you have to get the right ones for the right screens. That way it doesn't choke off the plants, it allows the plants to work properly. But yes, you can actually grow microgreens right on a screen. If you do that with no soil, no nothing inerts that included into that pan, you can eat everything on that tray, including the roots. That's a lot of food. I mean, for a tray like this, like pea sprouts or sunflower sprouts, out of one tray, you probably grow anywhere from 5 to 7 pounds of food on one tray. And you're probably looking maybe 30 grams of, maybe like 2 tablespoons of seed would grow that much. So the return is amazing. I mean, yeah, I mean, you think about it. I mean, this is lettuce. This is probably around, I don't know, 15 bucks maybe? 10, 15 bucks a bag. But you know how many lettuce seeds are in here? Thousands of them. If I wanted to grow these to seed, I could collect my own. Have you seen how many seeds a lettuce plant that's gone to seed, how many seeds that they produce? One plant? It'll blow your mind. Yeah, I'm not saying go out and raise your own seeds, but you can. You can really do that. You can do pots. You can do hydroponics. You can do NFTs. You can do small pots with organic potting mix. And you can grow this stuff up to just producing your own seeds. Now, in microgreens, using them at microgreens and in doing the seeds, you use a ton of seeds just to make a tray of microgreens. You get amaranth and all the other little mustards and things like that. I mean, you're probably looking, maybe 150 maybe 200 grams out of a tray. What is that? Maybe 12 ounces probably, maybe a pound at the most. But you can produce that. I mean, but just for a small teaspoon of seeds, it's a big return. And seeds will last if they're stored proper. They will last. So, if you buy them and stock them and store them, even if it gets 2 or 3 years down the road and you only get a 50% germination rate, you're still 50%. So 50% in growing these, and if you wanted to grow a whole garden, well, you could start them in the wintertime before your soil's ready. You could start the whole entire garden in one flat. And just when they first start getting up, then you can just, what they call tease them apart, with the little things and then plant them. There's many different techniques. Maybe I'll go through with some of these techniques. I'm looking for something else to talk about on this channel. I think I might. Let me know if y'all be interested in this stuff. I'll start doing some grows, and we'll start talking a lot more about that kind of stuff and the survival, techniques and sides of it. But also, it's taking one of God's precious miracles and learning to use that miracle on a daily basis. And that's to raise and grow our own food and to harvest and to have abundance, to share with others, to help feed those that can't feed themselves. I can sit and grow a thing of microgreens. I can feed you for the day. But if I teach you how to grow the microgreens and get you started, you can feed yourself for life. I've always loved that quote. Another quote is about the lonely old man that saw this boy. He was crying because he was broken and there was no hope. He says, "I can make you a millionaire." The boy says, "How?" I said, "All it takes is just your hard work." So he gives him $1. So what are we going to do with $1? He said, "Think about it." He says, go into Home Depot, let's say, and buy a package of tomato seeds. Okay, well, I don't know how to grow. He says, "Well, take them home, put them in the ground, look after them, twice a day, feed them a little bit of water, let the plants grow up. Now you got producing a fruit. So now you got the fruit you can take and you can go down to the farmer's market and you can sell that fruit and make a living." Well, the pessimist, the little fella, he's like, "Yeah, no one's going to buy my fruit." He says, "Very well, so what if you come back with all the fruit?" "Or, well, I can't eat all the fruit." "Okay, well, then if you can't sell the fruit, harvest the seeds. You just bought a pack of seeds with probably 20 seeds in it, which is probably can produce, one tomato would probably produce hundreds of seeds. You break it apart, you dry them out, you save them, and you sell the seeds for $1 for 20. Pretty good living. So you just end up selling all the seeds. Well, what if they don't want the seeds? What if they're lazy, they don't want to buy the seeds? Well, then you offer to another system. You plant the seeds yourself. You grow up the plants. And you grow them up to a nice little small plant that people would want to plant in their garden and save them all the hassles and everything else. And the funny thing is, of course, to clean them up for sale, you have to pull all the suckers off of them, make them look pretty. But what you don't understand, you not only get maybe $5-10 for the plant, but now you have all the suckers. And the good thing about tomato seeds, if you have tomato plants, if you take the suckers and you put them in soil or even in water for a couple of days, everything on that stem that's exposed to that soil will produce roots itself and grow a whole nother plant. So just by growing these plants out every 3 weeks, the suckers from one plant will grow the next couple weeks plant to sell. So now you're continuously marketing the same plant over and over and over and over and over. Pulling off if one of them does happen to grow a tomato for you. Maybe set one aside, grow more tomatoes out of it, pull the seeds out of that. People say, well, this is the thing. Well, you don't want to buy, you always want to buy Harlem seeds. I get that. I understand that. Because, with all this scientific crap out there they do to these seeds, I mean, that's what they're trying to do, is to make them to where they're, where they're non-growable. And you hear all the horror stories about growing, trying to save seeds from that stuff. But if you can't save the seeds from the tomatoes and grow them again, what's wrong with the suckers? The suckers are the same exact plant. There's no biological change. It's just an extension of. It's the same plant. So if you take the suckers and you make another plant, now you got 2 plants making that same tomato. And you can keep this going all through the winter until next summer. And there you go. You got your whole planting system again, to grow your own garden. You have to use your head to learn how to make the money from the dollar worth of seeds. And all along the way, you can teach others, and you teach other people that don't know how to do that and living in the same depression you are about not being able to make a living and not being able to survive. Now you can teach them how to survive as well. Yeah, that's pretty tough. But the thing is all you have to do is have the body and the energy and the drive to fulfill each one of these situations. I really feel that we all can benefit from that, including myself. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, it's a lot of work. I'm not saying it's not going to be a lot of work. I mean, raising tomatoes, picking around, slinging dirt, and slinging this stuff around, and it's a lot of physical labor and work. A lot of people just can't do that. I get that. I understand that. But to make a couple trays of seed of sprouts to feed yourself, yeah, you can do that. I mean, all you gotta do is you stand for about 5 minutes. You can even do it sitting down. You can spread the seeds out there, give them a little bit of watering, let them sit under it, flip the light on, let them sit under there, and put a tray on top of them for the next 3 days, and let them sit in the dark like they are out in nature, so they start to sprout and start to get growing, setting their tendrils, their little feet, roots. Goes down and sets in place and gets locked in. And after about 3 days of that, you turn the top over and make a dome out of it, set them in darkness. As long as you set them in darkness, it makes they're hunting for light, so they'll grow and grow and grow and grow and grow taller until they get to the height that you want them. Then you take that dome off, and then you just keep watering and watering and watering on the bottom. Don't overwater, but you water it. You probably maybe a cup of water every single day, Split it in half and do it twice, a half a cup every day. Or twice a day. And just as long as you keep them moist and keep them having some nutrients there available. Be surprised what it will produce. And if you figure a pound per tray, even 2 pounds per tray, and you have 2 people sitting out there, 2 pounds per tray is going to make one heck of a salad, dude. Let me tell you what, it's going to be a heavy salad, for 2 of you to eat. You can take regular lettuce seeds, instead of growing it into a full lettuce, let them grow up about this tall. Cut it off, and then eat that, and then next week, while you're enjoying that meal, You come back and there's already regrowth for another one. And you could probably cut those and come back probably at least I'd say 3 or 4 times, that you could do that. And the higher you grow, of course, the bigger the yield, the bigger the seed. And when you're talking in the micros, the more condensed and dense that you grow these seeds, they really don't turn into big, beautiful plants being that close. But as seeds, they really make a bunch. The volume is there, and that's what I look at is the volume, because I'm not planning on planting these seeds to full maturity, especially in Florida in the middle of the heat. You'd be lucky to do that in the winter. In Florida. So we'll get into talking about it, but let's just, if you like this kind of information, if you'd like to learn more about this, let me know. I can work up some better videos and show you more about step by step on how to do it. Give you a couple other techniques that might work better for you than just the tray situation. We can go, there's so many different things out there, that's out there, the Krakey system, which is probably the cheapest and the easiest and the quickest way to grow anything. A little bit more temperamental, but it can be done with very minimal cost. Probably within $1, you'd probably be able to put grow you any plant you want in that system. These system here, you're looking at probably $10 a tray, and 15, $20 for a bag of seeds, but you have different kinds of seeds. You can have varieties. You can have my favorites are speckled peas, sunflower seeds, broccoli seeds, amaranth, alfalfa is really good. The romaine lettuce. I've got my wife. She likes the spicy salad mix, so I get the spicy salad mix. And then I got a regular salad mix that I like. It doesn't got all the spicy lettuces in it, which I like the spicy lettuces. Don't get me wrong, the taste I like, but I can't eat them very well. They stick to my dentures, so it's hard for me to eat those leafy stuff. Like spinach is it's crazy how it is, but it is. So I like the real thick, something like iceberg, or romaine, something that's got a little bit of meat to it, that crunch, and you can chew it up and swallow it. But the things I talk about is amazing. For survival situations, why not tobacco? Think about it. You grow a few of these tobacco plants up, that'd be a great bartering tool. You learn how to grow and store sugars and corns and grains, and build you a still you can make your own spirits and your own liquors. That's a really big, valuable bartering tool. So that's why I say, when you're getting into prepping and survival stage, it's not what you do, it's not what you have, it's what you know, and how you know it, and making sure that it knows how to make it work. And if you can produce this stuff, and you know how to do it, and you've done it, and I don't believe on learning anything from a book and never put it to use. Put your hands to it, make sure you understand how to do it, make sure you work all the bugs out of it. That way, in a hard, tough time, now you know how to do it. You know for sure you know how to do it. So go out there and do it, and survive and be happy. It's just like learning to build a fire. People say, oh, that's easy to build a fire. Have you ever built a fire? Honestly? Have you ever built a fire in the rain? Have you ever built a fire in the snow? Have you ever built a fire just on a nice humid day? Have you ever tried to collect firewood or something that will burn in the middle of a forest that's already had rain on it within the last 24 hours? Or dew that morning? You better know how to do it, I'm telling you. Because if not, you're going to be thirsty, you ain't going to be able to get your water, and you ain't going to be able to cook, no matter what you got. So, These are skills that you need to learn. These are skills that you need to teach yourself. These are skills that I've learned many different skills over the life. And that's just something that I've been to. But then there's, am I a prepper? Yes, sort of, kind of. I'm not one to go totally nuts and crazy over it or about it. But I understand the knowledge is the most important thing that I could offer and contribute to this world if something did ever happen. I believe in prepping and survival would take a whole community, not just one in a house all by yourself. So you learn how to, help others. Just like you're propagating your plant, you're helping build your community. Same thing. Teach people to survive, teach them how to eat. So anyway, that's updates for this week. Hope you like this style of a video. I don't know, it's just something new I thought of. Maybe we'll try it this way for a while. Maybe give a few other different ideas to make videos about. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Ring the bell. All that good stuff. Make sure you keep me going. Because I sure could use the money from the AdSense, to buy some of this stuff that you want me to show you and teach you. If we did that, we would never get a video. Maybe one a year. And it would be maybe baking bread or something, But anyway, forget that. Alright guys, have a great day. Come back and see me. I'll leave all the information, how you can help us out with the channel, how you can contribute. All those information, my email address and things like that. If you want to call me, you can. Email me, you can. I'll do anything I can to answer each and every one of you. You're all welcome, and you're all desperately loved in my heart. You know that. And I might not be perfect. I'm far from perfect. But one thing I tell you, if you've ever experienced me, you've experienced my love. Period. It's just who I am. That's what I am. God bless you all. Have a great day.